The following podcast is part of the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. For advertising information or to find more great podcasts, visit us at www.theunderdogsports.com and follow us on Twitter at RealTheUnderdog.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Atlantic Files, the number one podcast on the number one division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. As always, joined by your hosts, myself, Alex Fishbein. We got Mike Bash. We got Dennis Clausen clocking in as Mike is dumb this week. So what's going on, guys?
Not much. Glad to be back for another episode. And again, I'm going to prove Dennis that I am smart and that he is the dumb one here.
Hi, how's everybody?
Sorry for everybody that we were not on last week. If you didn't know, there was a hurricane that came through and there's a lot of flooding here. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of flooding, a lot of tornadoes that came through, big time storms and everything. Dennis had an eye injury. We had a lot going on last week.
A contusion.
Eye contusion. What the hell were you guys doing over there in Syracuse?
I couldn't even see for a little bit, so it's good. It's good to be back.
I'm glad you're good now.
What gave you an eye contusion? It sounds like a John Wall tearing his Achilles in the shower kind of injury.
The only thing good about an eye contusion was I was hoping I would go blind so I'd never have to look at Mike ever again for the rest of my life.
You still haven't answered me on what caused this eye contusion, though.
I don't know. If I knew, I would tell you. I'm getting old. This is what happens.
Did you drop a box of water ice on your face?
Yeah, it's some blue water ice dripped down from my forehead into my eye.
There you go.
He did say the water ice makes your eyes roll back. So like maybe it just rolled back and never came forward again.
Toe curler.
But anyway,
so we had the debate though. Is it water ice or is it Italian ice? See, I always call it Italian ice, but I was trying to appease to the Philly fan base for some reason, and by calling it water ice.
I was about to say in Philly, everyone just says water ice.
All I know is I don't really care whatever the hell that guy was yelling. He could have said turd, and as long as it was water ice in the thing, I would have been, So I don't really care what it's called. 4
turds, please.
I'll take 4 turds. Sir, it's only the second inning. I think you've had enough. I'll tell you when I've had enough.
Oh, God.
All right.
But anyway. So let's get into it this week. There isn't really much news going on. The only news going on is all of the Ben Simmons stuff that, of course, has been happening nonstop over the past few months. We can talk about
Kenna Bates Diop re-signing with the Spurs isn't huge news around the league.
Maybe in the Big Ten country, Ohio State won, but that's about it.
It's not even a big news in our dynasty fantasy basketball league, let alone around the actual league. But this week we are starting our other annual series that we have in the off season, and that is the series of divisional previews. So each week, we're going to be previewing a division up until the NBA season starts. And this week, we're starting with the Western Conference, and we are previewing the Northwest Division. So that is Utah, Denver, Portland, Minnesota, and Oklahoma City. Last year, they finished in that order. Utah was the number 1 seed overall in the West. Denver was the number 3. Portland was the 6th, and then you had Minnesota and Oklahoma City bringing up the bottom of the barrel at 13 and 14. Obviously, a bunch of good things to say about those top 3 teams. Not much to say about the other 2, but we shall get into it. And obviously, from last season, we have the reigning MVP. And according to BovadaSportsbook.com, to win the 2022 regular season MVP, Jokic is actually a plus 1,500 to repeat as MVP. And if you're wondering who the leader is, it is Luka Doncic, which isn't surprising at plus 375. But you have two other Northwest guys up there. You have Donovan Mitchell at plus 3,000, and you also have Damian Lillard at plus 1,200. So you got a few Northwest guys up there for the MVP race, and it should be a good one. But let's start off with Utah. What are your guys' expectations?
Hold on. Let's not sleep on my boy Jokic. We gotta give a little more credit. How many years did I call this MVP coming?
It was a few years ago.
I just want to take a victory lap. Okay, a victory lap here.
Where the hell
Jokic
you run it?
finally won MVP. He finally won MVP, and they're sleeping on him, only giving him plus 1,500. But my boy Nikola Jokic finally won the MVP, so I just wanted to take this moment to take a victory lap and let Alex get back to what we were doing.
You know what? In that case, let's just start with Denver since we're already talking about Jokic. So you had your prediction a few years ago about Denver becoming, your words were, a powerhouse in the Western Conference. I mean, they might not have won the championship or anything, but hey, 3 seed in the West, that's pretty hard to do. The West is always a fight in the play to get into the playoffs, let alone to get in the top 3-4 seeds. They're 47-25. They suffered an injury to Jamal Murray, plus a number of other guys that were out a handful of games here and there as well. Your boy Jokic with the MVP. So what are your expectations going into this season? Is this the time that they're finally going to get the ring? Because I know there's been a few years you were like, all right, Denver in the finals, and then they're going to win.
Here's the thing. Since I made that prediction, of them being a powerhouse, they were were they the 1 seed one year? The year the Lakers won the championship, weren't they the 1 seed, or maybe they were the 2 seed? I forget. And then they were the 3 seed.
There.
So
fake bubble year.
The fake bubble year. So I'm just saying. I mean, Dennis wants to sit here and say I'm dumb, but my projections usually are spot on. I've called this for years coming. The Jamal Murray injury is a blow, but it was interesting. We were looking at who awards and who's in the running, and Bovada has Jamal Murray at plus 15,000. So they may think that he's not going to miss the whole season if he comes back in I'm thinking football, week 12 or something. If he comes back in mid-January, what?
It's that time of the year. We got football going. NBA preseason's about to start. Like overload right now.
Yeah, but if he comes back in mid-January, I don't think he's going to win the MVP. But hey, he could be a big boost. They got Michael Porter Jr. They got Bol waiting in the wings.
He had a good summer league.
But their big three. It all depends on the health of Jamal Murray, of where they're going to go this year. If he is able to be healthy, come back healthy, then they have a chance. But if he struggles and doesn't get back in time or has a setback, it's going to be hard for them to really be in the top half of the Western Conference. So right now, it's kind of hard for me to sit here and make a prediction for them. But you have the reigning MVP, who maybe he goes and doubles up and wins the second MVP. Who knows? But I think they'll be a team that even without Murray, they'll be okay. I like the play of Facundo Campazzo. I really like the acquisition of Aaron Gordon last year. They did steal Jeff Green away from the Nets, which me and Dennis are hurting about that, but it's okay. We got Paul Millsap, so I'll take the trade of Jeff Green from Paul Millsap. But one interesting addition that I see here was Bones Highland, their first-round pick at VCU. My buddy, he's our reigning champ in our Dynasty Basketball League. Big VCU guy is hoping Bones Highland falls to the third round of the rookie draft. So we'll see how high he goes, if he could step into Jamal Murray's role for at least a few months. But I'm confident that the Nuggets will be able to, stay above 8th place for the time that they're missing Murray, and then go from there and take off. But Dennis, I don't know. He disagrees with everything I said, so I don't know what Dennis is going to say.
I can actually say real quick, I've seen Bones Highland play a good amount of times high school wise because he is from Delaware.
Oh, okay.
So he's been around the area for me plenty of times at games that I've taken photos and videos at, and that man can play. So I can definitely see him contributing to the offense. If not that much in year one, definitely a good amount by year two. So I like that pick a lot.
Just because somebody's good in high school or AAU, Pee Wee, doesn't mean anything. He's in a right now. To me, he's a non-factor.
Okay, I mean that's fair.
So, really, I think huge for the Nuggets last season was the fact that they had a lot of good players step up when they needed them. Campazzo played well at times. Monte Morris played well at times. Really, a lot of things that hurt them was that you had Will Barton was out for a long time. PJ Dozier was hurt. Jamal Murray obviously impacted things a lot. So you had a lot of solid players that were just injured. On the bright side, Michael Porter Jr. stepped up and really just is back to the form that he was entering the league, to where he was a consensus projected overall number one. The guy's a fantastic player, and it's scary to think that a guy that averaged 19 points per game is actually going to get better. And and I have a feeling that's going to happen this season. I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to leap into the all-star conversation by far. Jokic, I think, to me right now is a favorite to win the MVP again. When you look at other guys who he would be potentially matched up against, guys like LeBron James, who is getting older, he can't stay healthy. Joel Street Clothes Embiid can't stay healthy.
Joel Troel Embiid.
So you got a bunch of players who I think Luka Doncic is a couple years away from hitting that place in his career to where he's the finally ready to be the face of the league. I think Trae Young might even be in the conversation more than some of these guys are. I think
What?
problem? You got a problem?
Yeah, Luka Doncic is a few years away from being the face, ready to take the face of the league. He's already here. He's not. No. He doesn't need a few more years. He's already up there.
He is, but he's a few more years away from being put into that LeBron James category, that James Harden. When these guys go away, he's going to be the face of the league for a long time. Him, Trae Young, but I just don't think.
Then trade me.
Stop interrupting me. Thank you. So what I'm saying is that he is going to win an MVP. In fact, he's going to win multiple MVPs throughout his career. However, I think there are so many guys right now, and a guy that we forget about, Steph Curry, is probably the biggest threat right now to Jokic as an MVP, because the way that guy played last season is crazy. So for sure, but the Nuggets made some good acquisitions during they picked up some quality players. Jamal Murray, if he comes back healthy, Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. He's certainly, to me, he's gonna make that next step without a doubt. And the only thing I get worried about, which I worry about everybody, is health. I just hope he can finally, we have a full season now and a lot of back-to-back. So guys are going to be stressed and tested from a health management standpoint. So they really need to be careful with how they're managing minutes and things like that.
So first you want to call guys street clothes whenever they miss games, and now you want guys to have rest and time management. It's a kind of like a hypocrite right there almost. If Michael Porter Jr. sits 15 games to manage his back, does he become Michael Street Clothes Porter Jr.?
No, if he's sitting voluntarily, that's fine. I have no problem with that at all.
I mean,
Moron.
oh,
I mean, I do think that they made some great acquisitions. I think that they have a lot of guys that can step up if need be too. It the I would say the biggest issue with them is the fact that the moment any kind of big injury happens, especially now that to me, it feels like they've kind of dealt away some of their depth. I don't feel like they're as deep as they were before when they had guys like when they drafted RJ Hampton as a backup, when they had um who was it? Gary Harris. After they traded him away to Orlando, I believe it was. I think he was part of that Aaron Gordon deal. Um, I just feel as though like the moment you have a couple injuries to your guards, you're not as deep as you once were, especially at the fact like we were just saying, Will Barton got hurt, Dozier was hurt, and then you also had Jamal Murray get hurt. I mean, I know not a lot of teams can come back from injury, like that many injuries to your backcourt, but it to me that's going to be the biggest if with this whole Denver team is going to be the health. So if you can get some rest days in there for those guys, I think it will be much needed for this team, and I think it'll help out in the long run big time. But again,
If any
this
guys
team,
out on, oh, sorry, Alex.
no, go ahead.
I'm getting to that point where I'm starting to get fired up and things. So, but if if guys sit for load management, especially for this season, like I get it, that's understandable.
Oh yeah.
But my problem is guys who tweak a hamstring and they're out for 4 games, and so that's the problem that gets to me. But I mean, the Denver, even without Jamal Murray, they were still a good team, and it's scary to think how good they're going to be. I mean, they don't need to rush Jamal Murray back by any means because they have guys who are capable of man. Campazzo did a fantastic job running things, so they don't need to rush him back. Their whole objective is to make the playoff and then goes balls to the wall from there. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I mean, even with especially with the fact that, you have a guy like Michael Porter Jr. there, who is a very good scoring wing, and one that can improve the more that he gets the ball. I mean, especially like according to Bovada, to be the most improved player of the year, Michael Porter Jr. has the highest odds at plus 650. So he's already the favorite to be the most improved. And we saw him last year as a very good player as it was. So if you have somebody like that make a leap in his progression in his development, then you can see a team that will be very well off, and then add another great player like Jamal Murray, and then it's all cylinders forward.
I mean, you're going from a guy who averaged 19 points a game in Michael Porter, and to think that he is a favorite to be the most improved player of the year is crazy, because I don't even think we're not even at the tip of the iceberg with how well this guy is going to be this year. I believe I have this feeling that this guy is going to be in the All-Star conversation. Like I said before, he's going to, I see 25 points a game for him. Like that's totally feasible to see. You might even start to hear his name. It might be Jokic and Michael Porter, not Jokic and Jamal Murray. That's how much confidence I have in how good of a player Michael Porter Jr. could be.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that if Jamal Murray comes back healthy and fully healthy, that the Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Jokic could be that next super big, like that big three that, just takes the league over. And it'll be interesting, is it ever going to, is anyone ever going to have a big three like Harden, Irving, and Durant, where you have 3 of the top 15 players in the league? Probably not. but could Murray, Jokic, and Porter be what Clay, Curry, and Draymond was a few years ago? Certainly. And I think that the three of them being a point guard, but it's a combo guard, a big three who could really play the four in Michael Porter Jr., and a center who's a point forward, that's a trio we've never seen like that kind of mix. Usually it's a scoring guard, a big man who's either a dominant center or, a defensive center, and then a shooter, like or a super dunker kind of guy like Vince Carter, right? I don't think we've ever seen this makeup. It's like, I guess the closest you would get would be Boston, but they didn't have the point guard. I mean, Rondo was good, but the big three in Boston wasn't the same makeup. So I'm interested in seeing how this team goes in the future, and I just hope that they keep the three together, because if all fully healthy, that's a dangerous trio. Certainly one of the best offensive trios we'll ever see.
And the thing about these guys is they're all naturally they have chemistry already established. They've been together for a couple years. A lot of teams can't say that. As lethal and as threatening as the big three is in Brooklyn, these guys didn't really have a lot of time together, and injuries killed the Nets. And when you don't develop that chemistry, that really does a lot of things to you. So these guys have the chemistry. It's kind of the same thing. Middleton and Giannis have been together for a while. Lillard and CJ been together for a while. So that's it. That type of chemistry, you're not going to find that in a lot of places anymore. And that's what makes them extra dangerous, on top of those three guys just being fantastic players.
True. And on top of that, they have a good coach. Like, it's not just like a random, brand new coach they brought in. It's not like, and I'm not saying that as a dig at people like, Tyronn Lue when he was with Cleveland, or Steve Nash with Brooklyn, or anything like that. Like, those guys have their places as well. But I mean, I really like Michael Malone as a coach. And I mean, he's already proven to have done a very good job as it is. So I think,
I mean, how could you not like Michael Malone? The guy's a class act, without a doubt. So, I mean, definitely one of the more underrated coaches in the league is, Michael Malone, for sure.
Oh, completely agree. But so let's move on to Utah. They were the one who won the division last year. Another very good regular season team, and everyone, all the, the big name pundits and everything, kept saying that it was going to be different this year come playoff time. Like, they were going to have playoff success. They won one series against Memphis, which they should have won in the first place. And then they lost their second round matchup to the Clippers. They lost that 4-2. And it was kind of just much of the same this year. The only difference was their offense was very good in the regular season. In other years, they really were just a grinded out defensive team. But even though the defense was still very good, their offense was much better than other years. They had plenty of shooters. Donovan Mitchell still doing everything that he does. Mike Conley, when he was healthy, was giving you a lot. Jordan Clarkson getting sixth. He was sixth man of the year last year, wasn't he? I think.
I believe so.
Yeah. Sixth man of the year. So, like, you have a very good team. Rudy Gobert getting defensive player of the year again. So here's my thing with Utah. Every time I watch them, I'm like, okay, this is a decent team. But for this day and age, they are not built to win a championship. And until something miraculous happens, I have no faith in this team to win a championship for X amount of years coming. I have the faith that Donovan Mitchell is a player that can win a championship, but not this team. What do you guys think?
Well, can I say that did any team this offseason have a better, quieter offseason than the Utah Jazz? They signed Eric Pascal, or traded for, I forget how they acquired him. Nice, good role player, right? They brought in Hassan Whiteside, who is going to fit the role perfectly behind Rudy Gobert. He does everything Rudy Gobert can do, but 65.
Stay healthy.
But he's not going to have to
True.
play a ton of minutes. So he's going to be able to give you what Rudy Gobert gives you, but like 60%, like the gluten-free version of Rudy Gobert, the diet version of Rudy Gobert. And then they brought in the Baylor backcourt with Jared Butler, who slid in the draft for health reasons, but he seems to be okay. And Maceo Teague. I don't know if I think Maceo Teague's a two-way player. I'm not sure. I just saw him on the roster, but Butler's one of those. I love Butler. I saw him in college, liked how he played. He's one of those guys who doesn't wow you like Davion Mitchell did for Butler, but he's going to put up numbers. He's going to be able to score. He's going to be able to be a good backup point guard to Mike Conley and help Jordan Clarkson in the backcourt. I mean, team had a great offseason. Now, the problem is, yes, they don't have their go-to. It's like the same thing with the Sixers, right? The Sixers have Simmons and Embiid. Well, Embiid, and the Jazz have Mitchell and Gobert. Mitchell is okay, good, great player, but he's 6'2". He's not. If he's 6'5", be a totally different story. Mitchell at least is a guard who can shoot and score it from anywhere, so at least helps you out there. But it's like their team is great individually and even put together. Like the players are great, but they don't come together as a championship team. So I think the Jazz will repeat like they did last year and be one of the top teams in the league. But I think they're going to fall short. I think they'll make it to the conference finals, where I will not tell you who's going to beat them yet, but I will tell you they will probably make it to the conference finals.
I will add to your acquisitions. They also got Rudy Gay.
They did get Rudy Gay.
I was going to say that, but thank you for beating me to it.
So they got two Rudys now.
Yes.
My whole issue with the Jazz is that, for one, we don't know how. I mean, are Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, are they getting along this week, or are they not getting along this week? So
I think they put that past them.
No, they didn't. They never will. So you have that issue, I believe, which will resurface again at some point throughout the year. That's mark my words. Mike Conley, they brought Mike Conley back, and I was like, what do you got? I mean, I get it from a financial perspective, but the guy, and I'm going to say it, cannot stay healthy. Literally,
Ultimate
the guy's
street clothes.
He's very street clothes, but
what would be your all street clothes team?
Joel Embiid at center.
Anthony Davis at power forward.
Oh hell yeah, Anthony Davis at power forward. Small forward.
LeBron.
I don't know if he's super
Kawhi
street
Leonard.
clothes though. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That Kawhi Leonard is super street clothes.
We already know who the point guard is.
Point guard would be Kyrie, street clothes all day.
Yeah.
So then Conley at shooting guard.
No, I can't cheat him like that. So I think Irving is edged out Conley for street clothes. So I'm just missing a shooting guard for street clothes. Thompson. Yeah, but I mean he's not a pile of crap. So that's
Zach LaVine.
Yeah, but he's not a pile of shit either. So I like him.
I can't think
of anyone else.
We'll come back to one. Well, I'm sure a name will pop up at some point here. But my all street clothes team: Embiid, Davis, Kawhi.
Russell?
I can't do that. Those guys. I mean, look what all he did for the Nets during the time.
Spencer Dinwiddie.
I can't do that either. I won't. I love
all right, so street clothes are people who are hurt all the time and you hate.
Well, I never thought of it that way, but yeah, okay. So it doesn't matter if you're street clothes. It only matters if I like you. But I mean, we could say that Kyrie Irving is street clothes. But if we were going to fill out the rest of the roster, Lowry.
Harry Rozier is probably street clothes for you.
So yeah, I mean those are street clothes, and Mike Conley is definitely street clothes. So that's an issue But the good thing about the Jazz is when Donovan Mitchell actually plays the point, he actually plays the point really well. His usage rating goes up through the roof. So you don't really, who cares? You can move the white guys around all over the place. Bogdanovich and Ingles, they can literally play any place you put them. So that's fantastic. Hassan Whiteside could have 4 blocks, 12 points in 19 rebounds in about 6 minutes on the floor, so that'll be fine. Rudy Gay is a veteran, so that's fantastic. Royce O'Neal, who the hell knows what he does? So, but
Royce O'Neal is actually on for Bovada's Defensive Player of the Year odds. He's actually plus 10,000. So maybe Royce O'Neal's a little dark horse. I mean, they have Rudy Gobert as the favorite at plus 280. But let's not sleep on Royce O'Neal. He's a good 3-and-D guy.
Might have to put $5 down on that one.
Hey, I put $5 down on Sabonis as most improved, and I was a year off.
True.
Yeah, but Sabonis is fantastic. So
Sabonis also married a Jewish woman. Just saying.
Oh yeah, happy. I didn't say happy Ramadan to you two.
That's not Ramadan. That's not even our holiday. That's Muslim.
Rosh Hashanah?
Rosh Hashanah. Happy Rosh Hashanah, gentlemen. So anyways,
Gracias.
yeah, I don't see the as you can see, I'm trying to multitask here for all the listeners. I might be off my game because I'm actually in the middle of a little fantasy football draft going on.
Just
right
take the
now,
best running back available, and you'll get what you need.
Who do you want me to take? Melvin Gordon III.
No, don't take him.
All
You
right,
said
talk
best
for a
running
second.
back available.
No, don't take Melvin Gordon. He's gonna get passed up.
But anyway, Utah wise, they have a lot of good pieces. They have a lot of good players. But to me, the only player on this team that in my head, I say that's a championship guy is Donovan Mitchell. The rest of them, decent pieces, decent players, whatever. Jordan Clarkson, maybe even like a 6-man on a solid team, on a better team, like a Lakers or a Brooklyn Nets or anything like that. Like you put Clarkson on any other team that has a better offensive talent and offensive potential, and he could win one. But the only guy that I really even care about on this team is Donovan Mitchell. Rudy Gobert, cool. He won some Defensive Player of the Years. I have to listen to all the stat nerds bring up every single analytic that says his screens are better than an assist from a point guard.
That's stupid. I hate when people do that. That's like saying he led the league in inbound steals. Like, who the hell does that stuff?
First off,
Now
don't disrespect TJ McConnell.
I won't. I was just breaking your shots. But now I'm extra pissed off because I was just forced to take Cortland Sutton at wide receiver. Now I'm pissed off and I'm fired up. So
why were you forced to take him?
There's nobody else. I didn't want to take Tyler Boyd or Juju Smith-Schuster. But anyways, it's a basketball show. We're going to get back to that. So, I mean, Rudy Gobert, I mean, the guy had a 100 defensive rating last year.
Yeah, I can't talk about defensive ratings because I didn't understand them. So.
Better than street. Yeah, we know that. Let the pros handle it there. I mean, it compared to street clothes Embiid, who had 105. Yeah, so I mean, I don't understand how the nerds don't even need to get that deep in from an analytical perspective to realize that Rudy Gobert is just a better defensive player than street clothes Embiid.
Oh, that's not even my argument. I always.
So what's your argument? What are you? I don't know. I don't even know what you were trying to argue. I was just arguing.
I'm not trying to argue a specific point. I'm just saying it's really annoying to just hear constantly every day about, Rudy Gobert sets the best screens in the league and his screen assists are like 5 a game. And I'm like, nobody cares about that because what has that gotten Utah?
Apparently
Nothing.
somebody does because somebody kept track of inbound steals. So somebody cares
but
about it.
At least inbound steals is I can just watch an inbound happen and he stole the ball. Like it still shows up on the stat sheet because it shows as a steal.
Yeah, but these guys are the guys who, never got a date in high school, and all of a sudden now the only thing that they can do to impress somebody is come up with some stupid stat that nobody cares about. Like, you don't even need to get into that stat to prove that Rudy Gobert is a better defensive player. What?
Dennis is really having some strong get off my lawn vibes right now.
But the thing is, this is the one get off my lawn thing that I agree with. I'm cool with like player efficiency
Come
rating
on over.
So it's like in football where they have a yards per route run. It's points per screen set.
Right. Like there's a point where you start getting to these stats that people want to say, oh, well, this stat definitively says this person is better. Like there will always have to be a balance of stats and eye test. And there's nothing nobody can say that's going to make me change my mind about that. And we don't have to get this minuscule on stats to argue any of that kind of stuff. And the big thing for me is at the end of the day, cool.
I wasn't. All I said was 100 defensive rating.
No. I'm not like talking about you. I'm talking about the nerds on the internet.
How dare you?
They have feelings. But Alex, you are one of those nerds.
Yeah, but I'm not talking that nerdy.
Coming from you.
But the main thing I'm saying is, cool, he gets 6 screen assists a game or whatever you want to say. He sets the best screens on a pick and roll. Has that won Rudy Gobert anything? Has he gotten jack shit? Cool. He got 2 Defensive Player of the Years. And you're still playing Utah in front of a bunch of Mormons. The way when you get fired up about Ben Simmons, this is me whenever people bring up Rudy Gobert. And I used to be one of Rudy Gobert's biggest fans. I was the person who said he would win Defensive Player of the Year 2 years before he actually won it.
For all the Mormons, for all the Mormons who their cult leader let them listen to this show, we apologize about that.
Oh, but anyway.
And have a good night, everybody. Take care. We're off the air.
Before we start getting too far into Mormonism, I think we should just change teams at this point.
Well, you're the one who brought it up. Like, what is you? Just because the Utah Jazz have a lot of Mormons in there. That's just like you say the Philly, the stupid water ices. They're all over the place in Philly.
Yeah, but you love that.
I know. I do so much. Like, you know how like guys have ice baths? Like they take ice. I would do that
water ice bath.
Water ice.
Oh God. But anyway, I still see Utah, finishing as like a top 4, top 5 team in the West. I don't see that really changing, but I also don't have any confidence in them making the conference finals or the finals. So, that's really all I have to say about Utah.
I just have to say that Mike Conley should have retired. Thank God Jordan Clarkson is still there. Rudy Gay is a solid asset. Rudy Gobert is the Defensive Player of the Year. And we don't need a bunch of nerds telling us about screens and all this other stuff. All you got to say is 100 because that's what his defensive rating was. You just got to bring up his block totals. That speaks for itself. We don't need to get any deeper than that.
You might have to explain defensive rating because if you said that to Mike a few episodes ago, he would have thought that wasn't a good defensive.
He would have been yelling at me by now.
But anyway, so yeah, we all agree they have good assets, they have good players, they're going to be a good team. But the only thing, Mike said they're going to make the conference finals, but I mean, I don't think they're going to really
He's
make
stupid.
it that
I
far.
mean, who did? No.
But anyway, so let's move on. The other playoff team in this division, at least from last season, was the Portland Trailblazers. They were the 6th seed. They were 42-30. Obviously, this team has pretty much looked around the same for the last, I'd say, like 3-4 years. Their main additions the last couple seasons were when they brought in Carmelo. They traded for Norm Powell, which I thought was a good move. They still got Dame, they got CJ, they got Nurkic. They also, I mean, this coming season, they do not have Melo anymore. He's headed to the Lakers, as everyone saw that. They just made a deal not too long ago to bring in Larry Nance.
The LAARP.
The LA street clothes.
It's going to be the LAARP. They get 10% off at Denny's. And there's going to be a lot of injuries. They got Rondo. I'm like, come on.
Oh yeah.
And that poor Isaiah Thomas, man, that guy can't catch a break. They should have signed his ass.
They really should have. They had plenty of room for him.
Why not?
But yeah, so Portland, they're looking pretty much the same. The main thing swirling around Portland is the whole Damian Lillard getting traded. He said he wants to stay in Portland, though. He wants to make it. He wants to, really put his best foot forward with Portland as long as they make the moves to try and be a championship team, which, I mean, is a given. Every team should be doing that.
Shut up. Like, enough.
I mean,
God, enough of this guy. Son of a bitch. Like, enough. It's like, I mean, why? I mean, we were talking about this like 3 months ago. Were we not?
Yep.
And now we're still talking about this. Like,
Dennis is fired up.
Son of a bitch. Like, shut up. We're in September. And
He's not getting traded. It's past.
If something hasn't happened by this point, nothing's going to happen. Like, stop. Like, enough. Like, shut the hell up. Play with your team and move on. You signed the contract. Enough.
Dennis is, if Dennis ever was the GM of a sports team, he'd get fired within 3 weeks.
Well, what the hell is that?
What do you mean you want to renegotiate your contract?
Yeah, but what the hell does that mean, though? He's like, as long as they add the pieces here, like, I'll stay. Shut up. I will go wherever the hell you want to go. Get the hell out of here. Okay, we're all of a sudden gonna accommodate players with the guys who agree to a deal, and all of a sudden you don't want to play there anymore because
we accommodated Kyrie and KD by signing DeAndre Jordan, and then it cost us 4 second-round picks to get rid of him.
It's different, much different, but
we got Sekou Doumbia.
That's right. Is it Sekou Doumbia?
Sekou Doumbia.
Yeah, but you also got Jahlil Okafor.
Oh, ja.
LaMarcus Aldridge back. Going to be
Paul Millsap.
All right.
We're talking about the Northwest Division here.
Yeah, but now I don't even want to talk about it anymore because as soon as you said Damian Lillard, I'm like,
you know what? All right. Well, we're just going to do a preview for Portland, make it quick and easy. Dame Lillard, MVP candidate. They're probably going to finish in the top 6 of the West. They'll be bounced in the second round. All right, let's move on to the Thunder.
Thank you.
Yes. Actually, before we get to the Thunder, let's go to Minnesota real quick because they're the other team in this division that has been mentioned along with Ben Simmons. And I know this is something else that gets Dennis fired up, but I had to bring it up. And according to Bovada, Minnesota and Portland are tied in the odds for where will Ben Simmons play game 1 of this new season. They are both at plus 300. The favorite is to stay on the Sixers at plus 200. But Minnesota and Portland both in the lead after the Sixers. And Minnesota, I think, would definitely benefit from a deal to get Ben Simmons. The only thing is what they would give up, obviously.
That's what I was just going to ask.
Yeah, they still have
Nobody.
D'Lo. They have Malik Beasley. Anthony Edwards proved to be a very good player. Karl
Malik
Anthony
Beasley's out of
Towns,
jail?
we obviously know. He should be, I think.
Do you guys remember when Kentavious Caldwell-Pope couldn't leave the state of California?
I forgot about that. I also didn't
He was
know
literally
Malik
on like house
Beasley's-
arrest playing in the NBA.
I didn't know Malik Beasley's nickname, according to Basketball Reference, is the Mutant.
Kind of
Yeah,
like the Time
but-
Lord.
Teenage
There's
Mutant
also
Ninja
that.
Turtles.
So Minnesota. I mean, obviously
Like
they've
X-Men
only
Mutant,
made. Apparently, I don't know.
like Wolverine.
Yeah. Minnesota has only made the playoffs once in like the last 20 seasons.
Yeah, no shit.
And that was when Jimmy Butler was there. He left the next year. They didn't make the playoffs again. So I don't have much to say about Minnesota because their defense is still god awful. The offense is decent whenever they have people healthy. But as far as it goes right now, I have no faith in them being a playoff team unless they make a deal.
Yeah, I'm making a proclamation right here. Okay, September 8th. Minnesota will make the playoffs this year. Anthony Edwards is going to become a superstar in this league. 23, 24, 25 points a game. Karl Towns, been loving the guy since he was a freshman in college. That's a 1-2 punch right there. I don't know if D'Lo will still be on the team or if they make a trade for Ben Simmons.
Then.
I don't know if they'll make a trade for Ben Simmons or not. If they get a trade for Ben Simmons, this team could take off. But I think the future is now in Minnesota. Towns, Edwards, D'Angelo Russell. I think they're going to find a way into the 7 or 8 seed in the West. I just love those three. Again, street clothes if D'Lo stays healthy. If Towns can just play a little bit of defense. And you heard what Anthony Edwards said. He said, if I'm 6'6", I'm Michael Jordan. And rumors are he grew
2 inches.
2 inches. So,
It's a number you should be familiar with, Mike.
Oh,
So-
God.
Oh, anyway, Dennis, I'm put bold prediction here. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves go 44-38 and if that's enough, that gets them the 8 seed.
Oh, they also brought in Patrick Beverly.
Pat Beverly can get his cardio in. It's
He
okay.
ain't staying there. No way in hell he's staying in Minnesota.
Who wants him?
mean,
He's
when-
trash.
When they had the rumors of Ben Simmons going to Minnesota, Pat Beverly was hype about it.
It's all a front. But here's the thing, right? Here's
Remember
where-
I said plus 700. Bovada has Minnesota at plus 700 to make the playoffs. I'm taking that bet and putting $100 down right there. Lock it in. Put my money where my mouth is.
Or you gonna say-
Anyways,
Something Dennis doesn't do because he still hasn't paid me for the football pool. Actually, he did. I lied. He did pay me.
yeah, so stop saying that shit on a national a local
National TV.
Yeah.
Land.
So anyways, what I was going to say though is this is where guys got to keep their mouth shut, right? Now all of a sudden we have Ben Simmons, who rightfully so wants to get the hell out of that shithole Philadelphia. And rightfully so. And I love how my favorite thing too is Joel Embiid's like, I've always been support. But was it Alex, you're more up to date and you follow 76ers basketball more closely than I do because I want to throw up every time I talk about them. But I recall a time when Ben Simmons was getting trashed by Joel Embiid in the playoffs. And Embiid was talking about guys can't make shots or some shit along those lines. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
The only time he was talking shit was at the end of the Hawk series.
Right. So basically, in an indirect way, he was alluding to how the fact that, guys got to play better, blah, blah, blah. For one, you're a pile of garbage. You're the last guy who should be saying anything about anybody because you can't even stand on two legs for an entire season. So shut the hell up. Two, no, Ben Simmons, I pray that guy never steps foot in that pile of crap city ever again, because I've never seen a guy get hung out to dry as bad as Ben Simmons has in a long time. I hope he goes to Minnesota. And Minnesota, this is the thing about when guys start opening their mouths and talking about, this is a case though where it's actually working out in his favor. He's made it known that he wants nothing to do with that place. And I hope he never goes back, and I hope he continues to threaten. Not, who do you have? Rich Paul, right?
Yeah.
Rich Paul's like, if you find Ben Simmons, I'm not sending my guys there. And that's awesome, because finally it's about time that this guy's standing up for his guy. I hope he goes to Minnesota. I hope they get crap back in return for him. And that would be fantastic. And then you would have a team of Ben Simmons, D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, Cat. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know if it can happen from a financial perspective, but if that happened, that would be fantastic.
I mean, to be honest, even if it's a team of Ben Simmons, Anthony Edwards, and Karl Anthony Towns, I think that's a solid 3.
Yeah, but I would keep D'Lo still.
No, I know. I think that they're going, if there is a deal, especially to match the financial part of it, I think D'Lo is going to be the one that they deal. Especially because Anthony Edwards, I mean, that's a very high value asset, especially it only being his second season coming up. And I know you're not trading Karl Anthony Towns for Ben Simmons. So
you're not trading Anthony Edwards either.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think that the odd man out would be D'Lo, especially because of his injury issues and everything as well. And I could even see like Malik Beasley being included in some sort of package as well. But
I mean, who else makes a lot of money on it? That has to match up somehow.
Well, the main people making money are only D'Lo and Karl Anthony Towns.
That's a problem.
So I think Malik Beasley has the next highest contract.
I mean, it's poor D'Angelo Russell. That guy can't catch a break. That guy's like passed around, like the
a cheap whore.
You said that. I didn't.
That's what Bob said about Luka Doncic when we kept trading him in Dynasty League. He goes, the man's getting passed around like a cheap whore.
It is Ramadan, and you're using that language.
It's not Ramadan.
It's Rosh Hashanah, and you're using that language.
That was yesterday. You have 9 days to the next Jewish holiday. Get that one right.
Yeah, which one's that?
Yom Kippur.
No clue. Anyways, yeah. So I hope Ben Simmons just doesn't show up, and I hope he just continues to stick it right up their ass and gets right out of there.
I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna leave the Ben Simmons conversation because we could probably go for longer. But everyone acts like Ben Simmons was ridiculed nonstop from day one, even though Brett Brown coddled him. Ben Simmons could do no wrong in Brett Brown's eyes. Doc Rivers defended Ben Simmons the entire season up until the last series. Joel Embiid didn't say anything about Ben Simmons the whole time they were together. He's even come out on Twitter and disputed everything that said they weren't friends and they hated each other.
You're the problem.
But now the fact that they come out and say a turning point in the series was when Ben Simmons passed up a dunk and that he wouldn't shoot, that he wasn't confident in everything. Now, all of a sudden, it means that they were talking crap on Ben Simmons from day one.
You're a part of the problem. I understand exactly what he's going through now. Because as you can see, as we're listening, all you're doing is you're sticking up for street clothes. You're sticking up for Doc. You can have those. You can have them. Ben Simmons, get out of there. You're way too good for that place. You're way too good for that place. Listen to you. They never said anything. He passed up an open dunk. Yeah, no shit. Of course he passed up an open dunk. You know why? Because he was scared to death to shoot the ball. Because everybody was basically shitting all over him the entire time. But no,
I mean,
it's okay. Joel never said anything about poor Ben. Kiss my ass with that stuff. Get out of get lost, Ben. Get out of here.
In that series,
Typical
yes, they
Phillies
were
did.
in that series, they were ridiculing him. But every other series, every other year, all they wanted Ben to do was attempt jump shots. That's it. Not even make them. Attempt them. But he never did.
And Brett Brown, I mean, he could coddle him, but where did that get him too? Got him right out the door too. So
yeah, so I'm just saying, Ben acts like he's always been ridiculed by the whole team and they didn't develop him when they were trying to the whole time, but he wasn't letting them.
that is not true. That is the stupidest thing anybody could ever said.
There is a whole story in the offseason where the Sixers tried to get him to work with specific shooting coaches and he refused so that he could work with his brother.
Who wrote it? The National Enquirer, the same one that reported that Bigfoot was found?
Probably Rotoball, at this point.
Hey, don't go there.
It was probably written by Dennis Clausen. Just like his running back article, that was the worst article I've ever read.
Oh God. Don't attack the man's livelihood.
Yeah, what the hell is he? Anyways, so I mean, you're saying he wouldn't let him develop. That's stupid. He's not going to let him. Why would he want to have anything to do with anybody developing him when all they do is crap on him the entire time?
Fans do, not the team. But let's get back to the Northwest Division, not the Atlantic Division.
Yes.
One more team to cover.
Yeah, I forgot we are talking about.
We have one more team to cover. Granted, it's Oklahoma City, who has more draft picks than Dennis has players on his fantasy roster, and they're not actively trying to win. They just want more draft picks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the star of that team, and he is on Bovada's list at plus 800 for most improved player. Other than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a bunch of young guys, what are you guys thinking about Oklahoma City this year?
I mean, my main question for Oklahoma City is, when is the time to compete? Like, I don't understand why there hasn't been anything done like league wise to say like, hey, you guys need to start actually trying to win finally.
No, don't do that. The league does not need to get involved in this.
Then why'd they do it to Philly?
They've done it to everybody. It doesn't mean it's right.
But that's what I'm saying. There is literally no end in sight to this rebuild right now.
Typical Philly guy. They did it to Philly, so we could do it to everybody else.
Okay, OKC's got a good, young nucleus. They got Shai. They got Josh Giddey. They got Theo Maledon. They got Oleksiy Pokusevsky. And they got everyone's Lugens Dort and everyone's favorite cartoon character, Charlie Brown Jr.
And they also re-signed Mike Muscala.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
And they drafted Jeremiah Robinson Earl from Villanova.
Another Philly guy. So, no, yep. I mean, here's the thing. Like you said, OKC's not going to compete this year. They're not looking to compete. They'll probably make another 6 trades to get more second-round picks. And, they're going in our dynasty league, they're going the Kohler way of just punting until the time the strike is. So
I mean, I like what they did with flipping, Horford for some assets in Kemba Walker, and then buying out Kemba to allow him to go sign in other places. I thought that was, from a player's perspective, I thought that was a really generous move from Oklahoma City, because obviously they're not doing anything of any note. And they even said to Horford, like halfway through last season, like, hey, honestly, you don't even need to play so you don't get hurt. So like, you can just take a rest. My thing is, like, I do really like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's one of the best young players that are up and coming in the league. And he's a guy that I'm really excited to see grow and get better. Josh Giddey, I thought, is a very interesting prospect as well. And I do like Dort, especially as a defensive player. And they have some guys that I think, are going to be very interesting to watch grow, especially like Pokashevsky with the plethora of things he can do.
Bless you.
Especially as a 7-footer. And it makes me feel really old that I'm looking at his birthday and the guy was born in 2001. But like, this guy has plenty of time to grow, especially with how, the timeline of the team itself. I'm literally, I have nothing against Oklahoma City. And I was just like, I really wasn't being that serious about like, bring in the league and end this rebuild. I am just genuinely curious, when is the time to compete? Like that, I'm genuinely curious of when that time is, because I really don't know.
When the time is right, you'll know. That sounded good.
Okay, Gandhi.
I was still waiting to use, somewhere along the line, I wanted to use the he tweaking, but it just didn't fit in anywhere, so I couldn't do it. Anyways. I'm trying to figure out the Thunder's draft picks. With like, I can't even keep track of them anymore.
They have something crazy, like 20 first-round draft picks in the next like 5 or 6 drafts.
Oh yeah, they do. I'm looking at it right now. I mean, what are you going to do with all those first-round draft picks, though?
Exactly, you can't keep them all.
Like, that reminds me, like, you ever play like Madden or NBA 2K and you just load up on draft picks so you can import your draft class that some guy made, and all of a sudden, like, that's what this reminds me of. Like, everybody's just trading away everything so they can get they want to save money. They want to, do that. That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, again, I like some of the young guys they have. Having draft picks is always great, but we got to see what that amounts to.
What
and
a
I still see
depressing
them coming in last.
What a depressing team to end on. The Oklahoma City Thunder. I got pissed. I started to get pissed off. I made it through about 25 minutes before I started getting pissed off about Damian Lillard. And then we moved on to Ben Simmons. Like, those are the two things that I apologize.
I knew I had to bring up Ben Simmons after Dame, because I knew just get it all out then.
I'm just not going to talk about it anymore. I'm not going to, from now on, mark my words, I am not going to say anything more about Damian Lillard, and I am not going to comment on Ben Simmons. Everybody knows how I feel about it, and I'm not going to discuss it anymore.
Okay. Well, until they finally get traded.
If they get traded, but in the meantime, I don't want to hear any of this, Yeah. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Take care.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's it for us. We pretty much have everything like the way it was last season. I mean, to be honest, to wrap up the division, I still see Utah probably. I mean, the only thing I could see different is maybe Denver finishing ahead of Utah. But other than that, I see Portland being third in the division. I see Minnesota being fourth. I see the Thunder being fifth. I don't know about you guys, but the only team in this division that I can see as a true finals contender is Denver.
I'm going to go out and I'm going to say the Denver Nuggets will have the best record in the West.
So you guys are just piggybacking on my brain.
Yes. Have a good night. Take care.
That's all right. This is
Mike,
you
agree?
This is a very smart brain here, so I understand. But yeah, no,
I can hear your girlfriend in the background laughing at that one.
She is in the background.
You had to check.
She is in the background, but she didn't make a sound, so you can't hear her laughing. And now she's laughing, but she's laughing at Dennis. Let's just be.
I just can't win anymore.
Nope, you can't. She's very happy though that you're going to see Breeze on Saturday. So,
thank you. I'm a nice guy. I'm not really this grouchy.
Yeah, you are.
Or vulgar. Yeah, I am. Anyways, good night, everybody.
Yeah,
all right.
That is it for us. Thank you everyone for listening to.
One thing real quick, I just want to wish everybody good luck in week 1 with their fantasy football teams. So good luck, everybody.
Yes.
Important.
Good luck to everyone. Football
Except
starts. I mean, today's Wednesday. Football starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow, baby. Here we go. It's a good time of year, man. The leaves, apple cider. We got donuts, like
pumpkin spice,
everything.
Dennis, it sounds like Dennis is a big fall guy.
It's going to be raining every day, so nobody's going to ask you to come out for a barbecue that you sit outside for 8 hours. No, you can just stay right at home for the next.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the NFL Red Zone Sundays.
Oh yeah.
Bring it on.
There's nothing like it.
But that's it for us, everybody. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Atlantic Files, the #1 podcast on the #1 division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, everything that helps us out greatly. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.